I note that Erica Lewandowski, representing Robert Mahika, Director of the Division of the Budget, is participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of the Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, Room 131 in Albany. Erica, can you hear us?
Yep, I can. Thank you.
Thanks. Now I'd like to request a motion and a second to call to order the September 14, 2017 meeting of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee. The motion and second recorded will be used for all action items before the committee unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member wishes to record his or her vote differently. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Second. The minutes of the meeting of the Mortgage Insurance Committee held on July 13, 2017 shall be deemed approved absent corrections from the directors.
The meeting will move to the Mortgage Insurance Committee Program action items. So we're going to first item 2. Resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on the $27,500,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Fountain Avenue Building B1, 10 Schroeder's Walk, Brooklyn, Kings County. Someone's going to present that.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning.
Tell me your first name.
Mike.
Mike. It says Mr. Friedman. That's awfully. Let's call the guy Mike. Thank you, Mike. If you don't mind
Good
me calling
morning.
you Mike.
We have a full agenda this morning. There are 12 mortgage loans in 7 different counties. Fountain Avenue Building B1 comprises the construction of 200 all low-income units, of which 139 will be for low-income seniors and 60 will be for formerly homeless seniors referred by New York City DHS or HPD. There's a Section 8 HAP contract covering all of the units. The project is being developed by the Archer companies, experienced developers of low-income and affordable housing. And this loan and the subsequent loan on the agenda will be the 5th and 6th loans we have insured for entities developed by the Archer companies, with total exposure of $63 million. The insured loan amount for this project is $137,500 per unit, which equals 27% of the project's development cost of $512,000 per unit.
Got it, Mike?
That's it.
A resolution of the Mortgage Insurance Company, State of New York Mortgage Agency, recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Fountain Avenue Building B1, 10 Schroeder's Walk, Brooklyn, Kings County. Is there a motion?
Yes, assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 3, resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $7,250,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Fountain Seaview Building B3, 881 Erskine Street, Brooklyn, Kings County. Mike?
This project comprises the construction of 144 all low-income units, of which 29 will be supportive housing units for clients of the New York State Office for Persons with Developmental Disabilities, and OPWDD will pay rent subsidies for those 29 units. The rent subsidies are the difference between the tenant's SSI rent and tax credit rents. The insured loan amount is $50,000 per unit, which equals 15% of the project's total development cost of $343,000 per unit. And the project will break even with a pro forma 10% vacancy loss or a 9% increase in operating expenses.
A resolution of the Mortgage Insurance Committee of the State of New York Mortgage Agency recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Fountain Avenue, Building B3, 881 Erskine Street, Brooklyn, Kings County.
Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Item 4,
Motion is
resolution
carried.
recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $12,300,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Project Hope Senior Housing, 2050 Bartow Avenue, Bronx County. Mike?
This project comprises the rehab of 100 low-income units for seniors. There's a project-based Section 8 HAP contract covering all of the units. The project is being developed by B'nai B'rith, a national sponsor of federally subsidized housing for the elderly. The loan amount is $123,000 per unit, which equals 38% of the project's total development cost of $325,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a pro forma 10% vacancy rate or an 11% increase in operating expenses. And there's a 420C real estate tax exemption.
Mike, thank you. Lauren, I realize now you're the one who's really supposed to read the resolution of the resolution.
Okay,
Please.
good. The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Project Hope Senior Housing, 2050 Bartow Avenue, Bronx, Bronx County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Eric?
Item 5.
And the motion is carried. Just finish up.
Thanks, Lauren. Resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $10,950,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Riverview Lofts, 221 East Main Street, Riverhead, Suffolk County. Mike?
This project comprises the construction of 116 low, mod, and middle-income units and 13,000 square feet of commercial space. It's located on East Main Street in Riverhead in an attractive location near the aquarium. The project is being developed by Georgica Green, an experienced developer of affordable housing both on Long Island and in Brooklyn. This will be the third loan we've insured for entities controlled by Georgica Green with total exposure of $32 million. The insured loan amount is $94,000 per unit, which equals 19% of the project's total development cost of $490,000 per unit. And the project will break even with a 12% pro forma vacancy and collection loss, a 14% increase in operating expenses, or 90% of the commercial space vacant.
Mike, just a question on this one because I'm familiar with the project and the site. The per square foot construction cost, this is Suffolk County, Riverhead, pretty good, right?
Yes,
200 and something? I don't remember the exact.
yes, yes.
But
And
you're obviously comfortable with that, right?
I am.
Seeing these projects, the great, disparity of, or extremes of construction costs on a square foot basis.
Yeah, and this in particular because it's on the
It's on the water.
banks of the Peconic River, so
Right.
there's a lot of.
It is, and I'm sure everybody, you're all familiar with the project, but again, I think ESD, my former agency, has some skin in this game. It's a really important part of downtown, the overall downtown Riverhead redevelopment. So, I mean, you are doing something very important that's part of a broader state-supported initiative to revitalize, along with Steve Bellone, the county executive, that section of Main Street and downtown Riverhead. It's one of the more, in terms of Main Street revitalization projects around the state, it really stands out. So, very good project.
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Riverview Lofts, 221 East Main Street, Riverhead, Suffolk County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Item 6, resolution recommending 100%
and-
mortgage insurance.
We'll just formally say that the motion is carried.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Allow you
Lauren.
to move on.
See, Mike has a lot of projects today.
He does, and he
Right,
appreciates
right.
this, I'm sorry.
I've been warned that these meetings
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
great projects. I wish we could actually spend more time on the particular project. Mike's doing a great job. In any event, the next one is item 6. It's a resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $7 million HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Curran, Martinelli, and Hall Apartments, 1-4 Curran Court, 21 Ellison Avenue, 15 Dunbar Street, and 1020 Kenmore Street, up in beautiful Yonkers, Westchester County, not far from here. Mike, take it away.
So this project comprises the mod rehab of nine buildings and comprises 279 low-income units. There's a project-based Section 8 HAP contract through the RAD 1 program covering all of the units. The project is owned by the Municipal Housing Authority. This will be the fourth loan that we've insured for entities controlled by the Housing Authority of Yonkers, with total exposure of only $27 million. And the insured loan amount is $25,000 per unit, which equals only 12% of the project's total development cost of $205,000 per unit, exclusive of the $37 million seller's note. And the project would break even with an 8% pro forma increase in operating expenses or an 11% vacancy rate. And there's a pilot with the Yonkers IDA.
Thank you, Mike. Lauren?
Then the resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Curran, Martinelli, and Hall Apartments, 1 to 4 Curran Court, 21 Ellison Avenue, 16 Dunbar Street, and 10 to 20 Kenmore Street, Yonkers, Westchester County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 7, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $6,100,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for, pardon me.
Congratulations.
What are you saying?
I'm sitting over
Next
there
to me.
next to
Put
Nestor.
her far away from me, because
Yeah, I don't want to
we're known
you.
for slowing meetings down by our kibbutz and stuff. None of that, Joyce. We're gonna get this, we're gonna get right through this. Back to item 7, right?
Yes.
Resolution, Joyce, this is when you settle in. We're on item 7. Mike's been going through them, and there's a few more to go.
Okay.
Uh,
Mortgage insurance?
It's
Yes,
mortgage
this is the
insurance.
Mortgage Insurance Committee. Resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $6,100,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Skylar DeKalb Apartment, 86 DeKalb Avenue, White Plains, Westchester County.
This project comprises the rehab of 167 low-income units, all of which are covered by a project-based Section 8 HAP contract. The project is owned by the White Plains Municipal Housing Authority. There will be a pilot agreement. The insured loan amount is $36,500 per unit, which equals only 14% of the project's total development cost of $255,000 per unit. The project would break even with an 8% increase in operating expenses or a 10% residential vacancy rate.
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Skylar DeKalb Apartments, 86 DeKalb Avenue, White Plains, Westchester County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And the motion is carried. Item 8.
Item 8, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $3,200,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Frederick Douglass Apartments, 148 Jefferson Avenue, 481 Clinton Street, Buffalo, Erie County. Mike?
This project comprises the mod rehab of 87 low-income units. Of the 87 units, only 46 will be covered by a project-based Section 8 HAP contract, and the other units will be regular 50% AMI units. There's a 30-year pilot with the city of Buffalo. The insured loan amount is only $37,000 per unit, which equals 22% of the project's total development cost of $164,000 per unit. So this is an efficient project. And the project would break even with a 10% pro forma vacancy rate or a 9% increase in operating expenses.
Mike, thank you. You know, I realize, and I want David and Joyce to check me on this, that I probably should be pausing to see if directors have any questions for Mike, not just myself, right? Don't want to cut you off, my friend.
Thank you, but I'll make myself known if I have.
No, I'm trying to move it, but
Right.
this is a good time for directors. When Mike finishes, at least in, the way I would do it. Mike finishes the presentation. I ask directors if they have questions or comments for Mike about anything. And if there are none, Lauren reads the
Then we go
resolution, we
through.
vote, boom, go.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that goes for people in Syracuse and Buffalo and around the state.
Albany.
Albany. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Thank you,
everybody.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Good
morning.
So we'll do that. So anyway, using that as an example, or on this one, which is item 8, the directors have any questions for Mr. Friedman? All right, hearing none, I'll ask Lauren to read the resolution.
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Frederick Douglass Apartments, 148 Jefferson Avenue and 481 Clinton Street, Buffalo, Erie County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 9, resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $9,300,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 330 Main Street, Utica, Oneida County. Mike?
This project is somewhat different from the ones the committee has previously considered. This comprises the historic readaptation of the former Doyle Hardware Building on Main Street in Utica. It comprises the development of 56 workforce housing units, 18,000 square feet of commercial space. Although there is no regulatory agreement, the unit rents are projected to be affordable between 73 and 124% of the AMI. There's $4 million in federal and state historic tax credits, $1 million ESD capital grant, and a 485A as-of-right tax abatement. The project is being developed by Braxton Capital. They are a new developer to us, but they have a significant experience in the development of readaptive and reuse historic buildings. The insured loan amount is $166,000 per unit, which equals 61% of the project's total development cost of $272,000 per unit. The project would break even with a 25% pro forma residential vacancy rate, a 64% increase in operating expenses, or with virtually all of the commercial space vacant.
Say that again, with the,
Virtually all of the commercial space vacant, it still breaks even.
it's, right, that's important, because
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
commercial leasing downtown Utica is slow.
Yeah.
Or can be. Okay. Director, do directors have any questions for Mike on this item?
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 330 Main Street, Utica, Oneida County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Before we move to the next
Motion is
item,
carried.
you know, I'll just, for any Uticans in the room, people familiar with downtown Utica, the state office building is right around the corner from the site, I believe. I mean, this is another upstate, but, you know, downtown revitalization project that's really important to basically having people live once again in downtown Utica, which had a vibrant commercial hub that kind of emptied out, and bringing people back downtown will help build retail and other economic consequences. It's very important for downtown Utica, I can promise you. Thank you, Mike. Let's do item 10, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $2,900,000 CPC, permanent first mortgage loan for CDS Monarch Senior Living, 830 Lewis Wolf Boulevard in Webster, Monroe County. Mike?
This project comprises the development of 96 low-income units for seniors. There's both federal and state low-income housing tax credits. The project is being developed by a 501c3, CDS Monarch Inc., which has been in business for 40 years and currently owns 26 residential properties throughout Monroe and Wayne counties. The insured loan amount is only $30,000 per unit, which equals 13% of the project's total development cost of $225,000 per unit. This is an efficient project.
Very good. Do directors have any questions for Mike regarding this project, which is item 10? Hearing none, Lauren, would you?
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for CDS Monarch Senior, 830 Lewis Wolf Boulevard, Webster, Monroe County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. Item 11 is a resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on a $10,100,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for Crotona Senior Housing, 771-775 Crotona Park North, Bronx County. Mike?
This is a 9% low-income housing tax credit project. It comprises the development of 64 residential units for low-income seniors, 10,000 square feet of community space, and 25 of the 84 units will be reserved for formerly homeless tenants. The project is being developed by Help USA, an experienced developer of low-income housing. The insured loan amount is $120,000 per unit, which equals 25% of the project's total development cost of $482,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 12% residential vacancy rate, a 17% increase in operating expenses, or with 82% of the commercial space vacant.
Do directors have any questions for Mike on this item? I just have an observation, Mike, which is, again, because I think it's interesting to note, as I was whispering to Ruth Ann, the broad range of construction costs. So back in the first project we looked at this morning, $242 per square foot, in Brooklyn, this is lower, it's still the Bronx and New York City construction rates, and it's all new construction. And you have it at 167, right?
Yes.
It's interesting. All right. Lauren?
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Crotona Senior Housing, 771 to 775 Crotona Park North, Bronx, Bronx County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everyone. Item 12, resolution recommending 100% mortgage insurance on an $8,013,807 LISC permanent first mortgage loan for 500 West 159th Street, 531 West 160th Street, 547 160th Street in New York County.
This project comprises the mod rehab of 65 units, of which 35 will be covered by a project-based Section 8 HAP contract. And the remaining 30 units will be restricted to tenants with incomes up to 130% of the AMI. There's $3.3 million in subsidy from HPD. The project is being developed by Community League of the Heights, a not-for-profit founded in 1953, which is developed, currently owns over 500 units of affordable housing. And it will be managed by Lemley and Wolf, which manages over 7,000 units in northern Manhattan and the Bronx. The insured loan amount is $123,000 per unit, which equals 73% of the project's total development cost of $170,000 per unit.
Very good. Do directors have any questions for Mike on this item? Item 12? Rehab of this important building? Hearing none,
Then-
Lauren, why don't you...
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 500 West 159th Street, 531 West 160th Street, and 547 West 160th Street, Manhattan, New York County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And the motion is carried.
Lauren, thank you. Item 13, resolution approving an increase in mortgage insurance of $500,000 to $3,150,000 on a, how do you say that, Ruth Ann? LIF? On a LIF mortgage loan for AAFE, East Village, 390 East 8th Street, Manhattan, New York County. Mike?
This is a project being developed by Asian Americans for Equality, and it comprises the rehab of 35 affordable units. This project previous loan was approved at the May 11th, 2017 meeting. HPD has approved rent increases, which justify the $500,000 increase in the loan amount. The new insured loan amount will be $90,000 per unit, which equals 33% of the project's total development cost of $270,000 per unit.
Very good. Do directors have any questions for Mike on this item? Hearing none, Lauren, would you do the honors?
And I'd just like to note before moving the resolution that you have a substitute resolution in your folders. It's just corrected an address reference, so it's not.
Thanks for noting that.
The resolution before the Mortgage Insurance Committee of the is approving modifications to mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for AAFE East Village, 390 East 8th Street, Manhattan, New York County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motion is carried.
Thank you, Lauren. Item 14 are informational items. We're going to turn it over to Mike, and he'll go through that.
I would note that the monthly mortgage tax surcharge collection for August was $11.9 million, as compared with $13.8 million in August of last year. And in the first 5 months of the fiscal year, commencing April 1st, the tax collection has been lower every month other than July, has been lower than the corresponding month in the last fiscal year. For the 5 months year-to-date, the surtax collection is $65 million, as compared with $74 million for the first 5 months of last year. It's a 12% decline. So it's, yeah.
we can ponder the reasons for that another
Yeah.
time. Directors have any questions for Mike?
Just, you think that's a function of a change in the transaction market or the refinancing market? for mortgage?
I think probably refinance.
Right, there was a spike in
Yes.
refinancing. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's driven largely by activity in New York City.
Right.
New York contributes more than the rest of the state put together. And the variances seem to be mostly in New York City. It varies 7, 8, 9, 10 million from New York City and 4 or 5 million from the rest of the state. So when it moves from, for example, in June, it was 14.7 million. This month, it was 11.9. And the 3 million variance is almost entirely New York City. The rest of the state just sort of comes in. Stable.
It's deceptive. I mean, I live in downtown Brooklyn, for example, and everybody, at least in this room, is familiar with just the great surge in market rate development in that area as a result of the city's rezoning several years ago. But almost all of that is rental units, so there's
Yeah.
no mortgage recording tax when you rent, right? In
Well-
other words, there is on the one property.
Yeah.
Right, there is.
If people were building condos and co-ops
Yeah.
and people getting mortgages to buy condos and co-ops in all those towers, I just
Yeah.
said that I'm talking about thousands of apartments, right?
Yes.
They're almost all rentals. So it's deceptive, and the public sees a lot of construction,
Yeah.
residential construction, but you don't see the same mortgage recording tax if it's all rentals. Is
Yeah.
my,
I just have a follow-up question, jumping the gun a little bit to the budget discussion. There's an assumption of a level amount of mortgage tax income over the, in the projections over the next few years. Given what the trend is, should that be,
I think it's too soon to tell.
okay.
well, David, hold that thought. I think it's a good question, and we can certainly look at it again, ask it again at upcoming board meetings. Because if the trend continues, that tells you something about
What we're gonna have available.
Right,
available.
right, and it may be an indicator of economic activity, throughout the city and the state.
Right, and again, there's things that are just,
Yeah.
you can look at sales tax receipts,
Yeah.
right, and think there's a lot of retail activity. It doesn't mean that people are buying properties or taking out mortgages to buy properties, right? So there's a lot of economic activity.
Yeah.
It doesn't all translate to our bottom
Yeah,
line.
yeah, we insure, we the MIF, we insure the Javits Convention Center Development Corporation bonds. And the debt service is paid by a hotel occupancy tax. And that has been very strong, yeah, that has been really strong.
Yes, I know the hotel operators that regret having to pay it.
Yeah.
They think it's strong too. Very good. Mike, any other informational items for this morning?
No.
That's it, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Any other questions from directors for Mike on his informational presentation? If not, there's no further business, and I'd ask for a motion, please, to adjourn this meeting.
Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.